Hi, welcome to the small shed. This Saturday I'm starting a fairly major refurb of my wife's sewing room. See you in a minute. Now this room hasn't had a lot done to it in probably 15 or 20 years. The carpet's looking a bit poorly and tired now. The units in there tend to be something, we've always used that room as a study up until when my wife was doing quilting in there. And by and large it's been an aggregation of all bits of furniture from other places, or there's a wardrobe out of a different room, and we decided to go back to basics, take the whole thing apart. There's been a flue put up through the room where the solid log burner went in underneath, so it really needs a good revamp. So over the next month or so, months, who knows, I'm going to be dipping in and out with this one. You'll see videos as and when we do things that are of perhaps of interest. The inevitable starting point is that divisive word IKEA. There isn't a bedroom in our house that hasn't got IKEA furniture in, so I will state that, you know, I am a fan. But I do accept the fact that people will tell you that it's not as good as bespoke, and that's true. My Skoda is not as good as a Bentley, but it probably cost me a tenth or more less. So it's the same with the IKEA furniture. It's perfectly serviceable for what it does. It's not as good as a bespoke unit, but a bespoke wardrobe is probably £1,000. A bespoke IKEA, and I'll get onto the bespoke IKEA bit in a minute, will probably cost a couple of hundred, maybe £250 for the corner one I'm doing. So that's the principal driving factor behind it. If I could afford to have somebody come in and do a bespoke one for me, or if I was confident enough to do a complete bespoke wardrobe myself, I would. As it is, I'm not, so I'm going to be doing it with the IKEA units. Now, I'm talking about bespoke. Before I get too far into this one, I'm just going to run around this week in a couple of the rooms in the house and show what I've done in the past, which indicates how you can adapt IKEA units to make it bespoke to your house. There are only two heights for wardrobes, but in fact we've made them fit under sloping eaves, made them fit floor to ceiling in rooms that are different sizes and all sorts. And over the next videos that I do on this subject, I'll run through cutting down a wardrobe, for example, and making that work, because there are one or two things that you have to alter to do it that way, in addition to the straightforward cutting, the way you put them together, things like that. But that will form the basis of the future videos. So let's just go up and have a look upstairs at a couple of rooms where we've got bespoke furniture, in inverted commas, from IKEA, and see what I've done, and then I'll perhaps get on and unwrap the corner unit we've got to deal with, have a quick look at where it's going, and probably that will be enough for this week. So let's go in the house and have a look and see what we've got. So the grandchildren have gone. They're due back in 4 weeks, so that's probably the time I've got to do this refurbishment a bit. Although it'll probably take longer than that, I can at least get the units out, new carpet on the floor, paint the skirtings, and that's probably all I need to do. There's a new corner wardrobe got to go into that corner, which will be hopefully full floor to ceiling with a bit more storage in it, and then the rest of the stuff, which was used partly as a study as well, will probably all come out and redo it more along the lines of the other bedroom, which I can just show you. This is a room I did a couple of years back, probably more than that now. Basically using Ikea Malm units, just infills the space behind the dormer window. There's a recess there with full depth wardrobes in there because it goes back quite a long way, and then there's a lot of altered units, again the Malm drawers and things like that were all knocked about to make effectively a custom built area underneath there. And then with a bit of careful design we managed to get just a bit of clearance for the door handle and fitted a couple of Ikea wardrobe and over cupboard spaces with a little dressing table underneath it and another unit there. So it put lots of storage in without taking up too much usable space in the room. It still leaves us room in what was essentially probably only really a single bed room to get a double bed in. Again, there's a Malm, an Ikea work table as a headboard that fits in quite nicely. Bedside table and units were all built out of offcuts, and then there's a pipe duct in the corner that gives access to the shower pump. Well, there was an electric shower pump in there originally for the bathroom on the other side of the wall. And a lot of the plumbing is in that duct, so that needed access keeping. Now, when it comes to room heights with Ikea furniture, they normally only do two sizes, and the chances of you being able to get exactly the right height are pretty much zero. So what I've had to do with the ones in our main bedroom is essentially cut the doors down. And if you cut the top, I mean, there's no need to even lift them because they're that close to the ceiling, you'll never see it. But what we have here, you can see I've had to drop the top hinge down, and you can just see the screw hole and edge of the original hinge hole up on that top corner. So you just have to drop that down a bit, cut the top down. I think on these that I actually cut the plinth down as well and lost a couple of inches at floor level by just reducing that height. And if you do that, you can generally find something that will fit exactly right. I was fortunate here in that the room was of a width that I didn't need a great deal of makeup. There's a small makeup piece in the corner that just tidies it up and allows you to actually get the carcasses in. Both sides are about probably 35-50 mil narrower than the room. But that's what we've got to do with the wardrobe in the workroom. Cut it to full height and then you get much more storage. This is where the units have been sitting in the conservatory, and I think can't quite see it very well, but the cobwebs on it probably indicate how long that's been there. So we've now got to dig those out. They're fairly hefty things, so I'll just actually rip them apart in here and take the units out bit by bit and cut them up in the shed then. So I've had a quick look at the specs on what we've actually got, because it's that long ago that I've forgotten. And in fact what we're looking at the moment is the corner unit that we're going to put in. 73 centimetres by 73 centimetres. So let's go and have a quick look and see what room I need to clear. Now that existing wardrobe is £770, so that's okay. There's an 800 unit above it, that'll have to come down. But if we take the wardrobe out as well, I should then have enough room in the corner to get the wardrobe in. It's 800mm to the edge of the window ledge. So there's plenty of room there for a decor panel on the end. Bear in mind that because we've got a flat end on this here, it won't be a great problem. That'll be coming out about 350mm, I think, something like that. So that'll fit okay. Let's just go and have a look at the packaging now and unwrap the thing and see what we have to do for height. Now the units come in 201 centimetres high, just over 2 metres, and 2.36. The room we're in is 2.3, so I've got to take 6 centimetres, 60mm, off the height of the unit. So that shouldn't be a massive problem. Let's go and have a look at it. Now the biggest difference is how you assemble these units. Apart from dropping the hinge down, which is what's happened here, and you can see that this one has been altered by roughly, from that hole to that hole is again 65mm. So it's going to be about the same as that. There will be a slight depression in the top of the door where the hinge has been lowered, but that in itself isn't anything that's going to be a major problem. So this is the sort of thing I'm talking about. You've got some blind holes in. I take it to be the bottom. Might be the top. No, that's the bottom of it. And you've got some rebates in the back for the backing timber. I say timber loosely. And these are the things that when you flip it upside down will be affected. But I'll get more into that when we start getting involved with the thing properly. Well, I hope you can see that it is possible to make these things fit into the sort of circumstances that you require them to without too much work. As the weeks go on in the future, I will show more about how the furniture is adapted, but it's not that difficult. The stuff slots together with holes and cams and things like that, all of which can be moved. You can make it narrower, you can make it shorter front to back, you can make it lower top to bottom, you can narrow drawers, all sorts of things. There are certain restrictions that I'll deal with later on, like metal drawers and things, but certainly with all of the timber stuff, the Malm units, the Pax wardrobes, that type of thing, it really is quite simple to alter them to suit your own requirements. So we'll look at that in the future, and I'll see you next week. Hope we'll find something a bit different for you then. Bye!